I don't buy it from you online. You say no. So that way comment on this page, I used to say you do video, they say bad things.
Good evening, all. Hello.
Hello, Chief.
How you doing now?
I'm fine. Good evening.
Good evening. Where these are people? They don't want to join. What is the issue now? We say 10 o'clock.
They are already joining. So let's just wait for the commencement of the class.
Okay, let them join now. Let us.
At least we have 6 people, as we say now, on the platform. 6 people.
Many of them, I don't have time. I just left school now, but I just want to see what we can do, because if I should, this it may not help well. Let us see what we can do.
That's why we have to let's see what we can do. Let's see what is going to happen.
I mean, and others that are talking. But I'm
here.
Amina is already. Amina is there already.
Okay. So I want a situation. People should talk about the areas that they are confused. We all know what is international communication.
Yes.
Is in the normal way. If people are confused, it's just how nations communicate, how communications are done across a nation. It is not about how nations relate. It is about nation and nation relate outside, how they relate culturally, how they relate politically, how they relate economically and all this. But one thing you must know is that, you see, because means of communication or means of all these things are still in the hands of the whites or the Western. And we know about the northern and the southern hemisphere. The northern, that is those developed, and the southern. So most of all these things that controls communication are still in the hand of those Western countries. So because of that, there will always be partiality and the dominance. So most of the things we are going to do in this communication is how they are using that communication to dominate us in everything we do. And how the southern hemisphere, that is the underdeveloped world, how they are agitating that everything in communication, it is partial, that they are not doing it right. Because most of the things are adopted. They are the people who has the power, the means, everything to control what we are doing as far as communication is concerned. They have the technology, they have the finance, they have everything. They are the policy makers. They decide most of the things that is happening in this communication. Everything originates from them, even the internet, the web, everything we are doing comes from them. So because of that, there is impartiality. And because of that impartiality, it brought about many things we are going to treat this night. So I want to know, since we know that this communication is transnational, and it is a way we do things with our superpowers. Since we know what it means, like this book said, is referred as the global communication or transnational communication. That is a communication that goes across a boundary, across a sovereignty. So if we know that, then we know what international communication is all about. So we are now going to do the characteristics whenever they talk about international communication, what is the nature of the character of the international communication? What are the things that you need to expect or see whenever you're talking about international communication? So now, hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
With you.
Are we fully okay? Because I want to okay. So in international communication, so whenever they mention international communication, there must be a character. It's like a human being now, you say, what is the character of chief? Or what is the character of Bright? What is the character of Rasa? What is the character of our governor? Or all these things. So everything that is on earth has a character, how it is spread, or what is it known for. So whenever they say international communication, what are the characteristics? Number one, I want to mention it out before we continue. Number one, intentional.
Intentionality.
Or intentionality. Anyone choose. Then two, channels. It must have a way it is being communicated. Three, technology drives communication. That's the distribution of technology. 4, you see, communication is about passing a message. So if we know that it's about passing a message, you will know that those in charge of that message will always pass what benefits them or what is their own to the other people they are passing it. So the next one is cultural consistency or cultural dominance. Simple means that what they have, because they are in charge, is what they are giving to people. Then another one is content. This thing must have a content of how it is being done or what they are trying to pass. In some places, you may even see this political nature of communication. That is, they use it to pass politics or how they want things to be done. So if we know about that, we now know that, yes, what is intentionality? What is intentionality? Intentionality means that whenever you want to do something, you have an intention why you want to do it. Going to public Unilag is to do MPIA. But you see, in the process of doing that MPIA, maybe people in another department will know me, or a message I pass will cross over to some other people. You see, sometimes when we are in FSS, most of our messages will not even end with our class. Sometimes the message will spill over to year 2 people that are in our mixed. So what it means is that any communication has an intention of the people the communication is going to. Any message you want to pass is you have people you want to pass it to. So immediately the message gets to those people you have intention to give it to. It means that that communication is intentional. It has achieved its aim. But in the process of sending it to those people, maybe that information spill over to some people. Maybe it is not those people you targeted to. But in one way or the other, they got the message, and either they reacted to the message or the message has an impact in them. For them to get that message, it is unintentional, because they are not the people you prepared the message for. So whenever you see intentionality, simple means the purpose of that communication targeted an audience or some people the message is for. But in the course of sending that message, maybe that message made an impact So some other people or some people you did not target got it, it means that that message is unintentional. Are we together?
Yeah.
Hello? Are we together?
Yes.
Okay. Let us talk about channels of distribution based on communication. If you want to do communication, communication must have a channel. You know, we are told that there's what we call international news, regional news, and national news. So it is not the channel they use in doing international news, is the same channel they use in doing regional news, or the same channel we use in doing in national news. So a communication must have a channel. It can be public, it can be private. It simply means when it is public, it means everybody can access it. Maybe that message is for everybody. There are some messages like, let's assume NTA before we assume NTA is a national television. Maybe government wants to talk something about their NTA, or wants to talk something about Nigerian nationality, they will now talk it in that NTA. But maybe PDP wants to talk something about politics that will be against government or something of that nature, they will use AIT. And when he used AIT, it becomes private because there are some people, it is only those people that are hooked to AIT that can get it. So the channel of communication in international communication can be either public or private. As I said before, when we talk about international, national, and regional, why we talk about international is that there are some channels that when they, because of the technology or because of the equipment they have, when their news are aired, you get it all over the world because they have the technology or the license or the way to do that. It becomes transnational, international. But there are some stations that it can be only regional, like West Africa, like Panama, AU, East Africa, all these things. They only operate within their region. You call those one regional. Then there's one we call national. Like in Nigeria today, most of, I could remember then, it is not all, I think even now, without having a decoder or DSTV, I don't think you can get all television in NTA. If you are not using a decoder, I don't think you get all the whole televisions in Nigeria. So you see that some televisions are limited within the nation. They don't have the equipment, they don't have all these things. So in the characteristics of international communication, so it has channels that they use in distributing. It can be national, it can be private. That is the second one. Then the third one is distribution of technology or technology distribution. You know, that technology distribution and channel are somehow similar because it simply means that the extent of your technology or what you are using as a technology determines the extent your coverage or your services can be. Those international channels, like we are told about AP, we are told about RITA, we are told about AFP, all those national or international agencies, you will see that the kind of equipment or technology they are using is not the same thing with the kind of technology a local channel is using. I know that there are some televisions in Enugu State, they only get Enugu. I think Enugu State television, you cannot get it in Lagos here. So do other televisions, because their level of technology, that's the technology they are using, the radius and where it will reach is limited, or they have a wave, or they have a target where it can reach, they have a distance. So you see that technology has a very vital role to play in international communication. Another one is this cultural domination. Cultural domination. You will notice that in international communication, most of the things we see or how they analyze things are mainly the culture of those dominated areas. I think TASS is for Russia. If you watch TASS broadcast, it centers more on things about Russia. Their message or everything they are sending is about their cultural dominance to the other ones. You see AFP or AP, those ones that America, I think AP and use something, UPI or something America. You see when you see their news, or this CNN or this BBC, something of that nature, see they portray the culture of their place. They will always write negativity on other people's culture, more especially the periphery, the underdeveloped, which is the third world country. So they will want to pass. You will not see in those international organizations them reporting or broadcasting the culture of the underdeveloped world. You see, most of their adverts is about the culture of their place, how good their place is, how good their culture, how good everything. So these are some of the things. And when other underdeveloped channels join them, they will always be picking those things that they are giving out. That's why you see in Nigeria today, most of our culture now, or most of the things we see from those international media houses or all these things, is that they are making us to look at what we do here are not good, and we should copy their own culture. And they believe when you copy their own culture or copy the things they do, you are modernizing. So these are some of the characteristics of international communication. Any question? If there's anybody did not understood, he can say something. I will just explain. And you know, all this international communication are politically motivated or politically inclined. They are all doing it to achieve a purpose, because they have the wealth, the finance, everything, the technology, all these things to do it. And when they have it, it means that it's what they give us is what at least we need to take. Because if you join most of all this international communication or gadgets, you will always be seeing their own things. Their own things will always dominate you. It's difficult before you see them publishing things from the underdeveloped, because they believe that those your things are not necessary. They are not necessary. In short, they are not important. So they believe that it is their own that is important. That is why you will always see the cultural dominance. If there's any question, somebody should ask before I will now move. Hello.
Move, Chief, move.
Good. So what next should we? Okay, we need to do about theories of international relation. Is that, do we need that?
Yes, go on.
Yes,
Hello?
yes. Yes, go
Eh?
on.
Yes,
Yes,
we do. Please.
Okay, the theories. Good. Theories of international relation. Let us use what we have in the book. Let me use it and teach. Number one is free flow of information. Free flow of information. Number two, modernization theory. Number three, dependency theory. Number four, structural imperialism. Structural imperialism. Number five, let me use hegemony theory. Hegemony theory. And number six, public sphere. Public sphere. Okay, let me discuss them small. Number one, free flow of information. What is free flow of information? This is a theory that is trying to explain two different ideologies when we are talking about communication. It is believed that those that are practicing socialism or communism, where the means to regulate communication is under the government, it is believed that it will be difficult for information to be free. It is believed that anyone that is under autocratic or a government where one person is in charge, that government taking over the regulation of that information or communication, that government will always regulate things that will benefit them, that they will never allow people the freedom. But the ideology of democratic system in free flow information means that when you practice democracy, you are free. Freedom of human rights, freedom of press, freedom, that it is better to practice democracy where government is, that when such practice is being done, that people will have right to do anything they want to do. That is why you see in many occasions, the American system, in democratic system, gives you always human rights, right for freedom, right for this, right for that, right to belong. And so free flow information is saying that there are two ideologies. That if you are practicing communism, where government is in charge of controlling communication or means of communication, that information will not be free. That communication, everything will not be free. But if countries are to practice democracy, where their main aim is free for everything, that information will be free and it will flow very well. Somebody should just meet his this thing, his video. So-
Nathaniel, please, can you help us to mute your video? Oh,
So do you understand that? So when they say theory of international communication, free flow of information, you will know that they are talking about two ideologies. Ideology of communism, where government is in charge of control of communication. So they believe that in such a situation, the information cannot be free. You will not have the right to do what you want to do. But where democracy is being practiced, that it will be free, information will be free, because they practice what we call human rights, freedom to many things. Is that clear?
No, please.
Hello?
Yes. Sorry. I don't really get this free flow of information. What?
Okay.
What you were? Wait. Okay.
Okay, yeah, talk before I know what I say.
No, I mean, what you were saying is, when we talk about free flow of information,
Yeah.
we mean where the citizen or the masses had unfettered or unhindered access to information without any bias or any ambiguities. Is that what you are saying? Because I don't really get it. Huh?
No, okay, let me clear it now. There are free flow is saying there are two people involved now, communism and democratic. That's communism is Eastern Bloc, but America is Western Bloc. Do you remember that? Hello?
Yes.
Just you remember that? Okay. So in free flow, they are saying, if you practice communism, it means that everything about the state, everything about the individual, everything about this thing will be in the hand of government. And when everything is in the hand of government, that there will be restriction in many things, that information will not be free. You cannot do things you want to do it. You cannot access it. It is only what government authorized or approved is what you can get. But if you are practicing democracy, democracy is all about freedom, human rights, free information, access to this and free everything. Government is not controlling, nobody is controlling you. So they said in such a situation, the information will be flowing free. You say it the way you see it because nobody is punishing you, nobody is restricting you. But if it is in a community where government is in charge, okay, let me bring it down to Nigeria. You know, we are practicing democracy, but in one way or the other, as far as communication is concerned, we are not all that free. There are certain things you will not say, or you will not access, or you will not talk, or you will not say the way. If you say it, government will arrest you, or government will even give restriction that the press communication should not go this one, or you will not do this, or you will not do that. Where democracy is being practiced, where there is freedom, where government don't even control anything, where government don't have restriction, that information will be very free. It will flow very free. People can say what they want to say. People can get information. They can, information goes freely. That is what free flow of information means in international communication, because they used two ideology of communism and capitalism. They said in capitalism is more about free trade, free stock, free this, free that, liberation, globalization. Everybody should be free to do what they want to do. But in communism, it's not so. Communism, in many occasions, practice what we call the cooperative life, where everything is under the government. You have cooperative, government is in charge, and government decides what people do. Everything human beings are doing is under the state. They are not free. Means of production is under the state. So in that situation, the state controls what you do. So it's not everything that you see that you will be free to say. What are they already saying? That freedom is when you practice democracy. It's America that is just doing this thing. That when you practice democracy, you are free. Information goes free. But when you practice any other one that is in charge of government, that government will do restriction, information will not be free. Am I cleared?
Yes.
You get it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let us now go to modernization theory. Modernization theory. You see, when we talk of modernization, what it simply means that somebody is telling you that you are operating in an old way, that you need to modernize, or you need to do these things to change from where you are. So modernization theory in communication is just a way where the Western community are using communication to educate or pass a message to the developing country that this is what you will do to make you to become modern. That if you do this or you do this, that's how you become modern. Like what they taught us in Rosto. Rosto told us that we have pre-takeoff, takeoff, these are some of the things you will do, you become modern. So it is about using communication to explain, inform, or pass message, or show you what they have in their place, and telling you how you will do it, and you will become modern. So it is just a means using communication to pass or tell you, to transfer a message of modernization. This is how we do politics. If you do it that way, you become modern. This is how you do agriculture. We use communication to tell you how we do agriculture. If you do it because you are not developed, you become developed. This is how we treat our health matter. We use now communication to tell you how we do it. If you now buy that idea and do it like us, you become modern. So it is a way of using communication to pass a message to the underdeveloped world that they are not developed, that this is the things they will do, and when they do it, they will become modern. Because we are being regarded as being traditional in everything, and we are being regarded as being on the periphery. We don't have anything. We need to learn from them so that we can become like them. So they use this communication to show you all this. You see television, you see print, you see them writing books. Like most of these books we are using in Nigeria, or even this course we are doing, they will tell you, they will quote a white man who wrote it. So they are using that communication to pass a message that if you do this thing, you will become modern. That is modernization theory in communication. So is it clear? I know people will develop it more, but I just want to get the basis of what it's all about. They use their communication to pass a message of modernity. And when you follow this process, or you follow what they show you, or follow what you saw, then you can become developed. That is why you see most of their technology, even war equipments, all these things, they use this communication media or mass media or print media or television and everything to pass that message of modernity because they believe that they are modern and you are local. So they use communication to pass their modernity to you for you to learn or see it so that you can be able to change your way and be able to follow what they told you so that you become modern. But in many occasions, you see that it is not working. Most of the things they have been showing us since, it is not working. This is what led to what we call the dependency theory. It is this modernization in our ability to become modern like them, in our ability to do what they did to become modern, that pushed us into become so dependent on them. That is the next one, which is the dependency theory. I want to know whether people are getting what I'm saying, because if everybody keep quiet, it makes me, sometimes it makes me.
Yes, we are getting
Yeah.
it, Chief. We are getting it.
You are getting
Okay.
Let's say go to school. You are
Explicit.
firing. Keep
That was
firing.
okay.
Keep fire up.
So explicit. Well done.
So we move now to dependency theory. You know, when somebody educates you on this is what you will do to become like that person, you know, psychologically.
Please mute to, please mute to, mute to. Let us say have the floor. Please mute to.
Mute your mic, please.
So generally, if you believe somebody is more modern like you, or if you believe that somebody is far more than you, and the person has a way of explaining it to you, and if you buy that idea, automatically it will lead you to depending on that person. So modernization theory on how they developed and how we develop made us to go to the next one we call the dependency theory. Dependency theory. I don't want to go too much far on this, though it came up from Latin America. That was in the 1960s and 70s. Because of some political situation then in South Africa, so there was issues. So because of that, there's a need to be a change. And all this dependency is to see how they can become modern or how people can become modern. So in dependency theory, it deals with interaction between the underdeveloped and the developed. It deals on the relationship, how the underdeveloped can now do certain things or the goals they will achieve so that they can be able to develop. And you know, in the process of development, you may not, the Westerners will always tell you, you need the money, you need the technology, you need this, you need that before you can develop. And they know that you don't have that money. And when they know that you don't have that money, they will look for a means to tell you what to do. Either they will now say, okay, you are not qualified in the media. These are the things that we would bring to make your media to work, or go and buy social equipment. In your politics, the ballot box you are using or the system you are using is not good. They will communicate things to you that will make you to know truly that you are inferior. And when they communicated all these things, it means that you will depend on them. They want you to depend. And this dependency is between the media and the audience. Because when they use this media, it is through the conviction of the media to the people, because it is the media that will play that role for them to make you to know that you are not up to them. It is the role of the media. So they use media to show you things that will make you to know that you are not up to them. And when the media were able to get the conscience or mind of the audience, they are passing the message to. The message, the audience will now react by buying that idea. When they bought the idea based on the media experience or publication or media tactics or practices, then they have captured the mind or the audience or the citizens of those underdeveloped country. So what it means now, through this media, through communication, they have been able to get the people influenced in their way of doing things, influenced in their culture, influenced in their responses, influenced in their reasoning. They will not jettison what they have been doing. They will now agree on what the media has done for the Western world. Under that basis, everything they are doing now will depend on what media gave them from those countries, because they have already believed what the media has done. So it is a way of these people using media to get the audience or the mind or the consent of the citizens or the audience on the developed country, so that they can be able to believe or depend on those things they are telling them to do. So dependency theory is just a way of using the media to influence the conscience or the idea or the decisions of the audience, so to agree with the message from the media, so that they can be able to change from what they are doing and buy the idea of the Western world. Because the purpose of the Western world is to always dominate, is always to make sure that their things are better. They use every means, like communication, to get the mind or the audience to believe on the dependency. So immediately they do that, dependency theory in international communication means they have used communication to get the audience, to influence them in their decision, to change their mind, so that they can be able to believe everything that they are hearing from the media about the Western world. It changes the social system, it changes the cultural system, it changes the interaction system, it changes most of the things people are doing. They will now depend more on the Western world, believing that everything they do, it is the best. That is dependency theory. And you see, the more they are using media to do many things. They use the media to do MDG, they use media to do Hollywood, they use media to do SDG, they use media to do many things. And the more they are using this media to do it, the more, even in the entertainment world, they will be bringing things there. I know how many people are dancing Michael Jackson. I know how people are dancing all these things. You see, even this country, we change our way of dancing. Oh, one day when they go dance, I change, they dance in an Oyibo way. These are some of the things. So we have now, they have used media to make us to depend on everything they do, believing that their things are far better. Although this dependency theory sometimes, it has effects. And because when you depend on something, automatically it will have effects on your behavior. It will also have effects on your attitudes, your belief. And it must bring a change. And it is the media that will do those things. And the aim of those people using the media or this international communication is for you to change everything you have. You see, in Nigeria today, even this civil service we are practicing is complex. everything we are doing is complex, but we believe that it is the best one because they told us it's the best one. And because we depended on the people that is telling us, and we're seeing their television, I could remember many people today, they watch Al Jazeera, they watch CNN, they watch BBC, they watch all these are all means of using communication to make you to depend more on them. And what they do there is to pass a message on what is obtaining in their place and the things they want you to do. And the more you are watching them, it will influence your attitude, it will influence the way you behavior, even it will have a cognitive effect in you. And all these things is to make you to remain a dependent to them. So that is what dependency theory is all about. Then what is the next one, Seth?
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Talk now.
Okay, first of all, thanks for coming on board and taking up this session. Okay, so there was a question I have to do with the strength and weakness of this theory. So in this case now,
We can't hear you clearly.
oh, sorry. Hello, is it better now?
No,
Okay, hold on.
it seems you are far away to your speaker.
Is it better now?
Okay,
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, good. All right. So, like I was saying, there was a question that was for students to assess the weaknesses and the strengths of each of these theories. So, in this case now,
Hello, I didn't hear strength to assess what?
I said there was a past question that was, asking students to assess, these theories, their strengths and weaknesses. So what do you feel is the strength and weakness of this theory?
Which of them?
This one we're talking about, we've talked about modernization and this, what's it called? Dependency. Yeah.
Okay. We are supposed to talk about the strength and the weaknesses, is that?
yes.
Yeah, that we're supposed to talk about the strengths and weakness. So what do you think is the strength of this theory? What do you think is the weakness?
Okay, for me, I see this theory as the strength for the Western world to remain in perpetual hegemony or authority over the underdeveloped nation, because the purpose of this modernization theory is for them to remain powerful and on top. That is the strength of this theory. Two, strength are in two ways. To them, because they are the people who originated all these things, and it is for a purpose. The purpose is to differentiate. If you watch, when they grouped two groups, we have two groups, the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. And they made it known that the Northern Hemisphere are the people that are rich, are the people that have money, are the people that have everything, that they are only there for others to imitate them. And you get what I'm saying? So everything about them is for, and all these things they are doing is for them to pass a message that they are superior and you must follow their own way before you can be able to become developed. But the weakness is that it is not true. And the purpose is deceit. These stories are deceit. And they are doing it. It is never in favor of the relationship between the. It was really designed that the poor country will remain on the periphery. That's what modernization theory is all about. Because you cannot make me to do everything you have done to grow, even when you don't consider the environment, even when you don't consider whether do I have the means to do all those things that you have done. So there is a lot of differences between us and them. But we don't consider those things. What they consider is that you must follow the way they are followed. So it is in their favor, it is a strength to them, but it is a weakness. It's like WICO, this Nigerian World New Order. If you see the aim is to balance the imbalance. But the white people will always tell you, even if you want to do anything balancing the information, they are still the people control the means of balancing that information. So how can it be possible? Somebody who is controlling what you are doing, then you want the person to change so that you can be able to get, it's not possible. So for me, the little I know, although I will still research more on this thing, then we can talk about it.
Chief,
like here.
Chief,
Hmm?
I think the question was to pick 3 out of almost 7 theory and talk about the weaknesses, like weaknesses of each of the theory, not in general.
Like like the dependency theory.
Yeah.
Let me I know what.
Sorry?
Let me just hello. Let me say something like modernization theory. Modernization theory did not recognize even indigenous knowledge. They didn't believe that we can develop on our own. It's a weakness. They don't believe that we have anything to do. So we must do what they want them, what they did. And modernization theory will always tell you that urbanization or urban is superior than village. That's what they will always tell you, because when somebody is telling you to come and do what he has done to become like this, it simply means that he has told you that you are not equal. So that's a weakness. Another one is that like strength. Modernization theory will only tell you what is obtainable in a developed country. So whenever they are talking about what is obtainable in developed country. That is their strength. Another one, they will always tell you that modernization theory is towards betterment of your situation, both education, political, health, and everything. That's their belief. That is their strength. They believe you that when you do modernization, you become better. Whether it works or it didn't work, that's it. So it's their strength. So, but what I told you, how you will know the strength and the weakness is that modernization theory will tell you good about him, that if you do this thing, that you will become better. That is their strength. It's like two people. I don't know who I will use. Okay, let me use Shegu or McDaniel. He's telling me now, look, Mr. Eze, this school we are going, if you do public relation, you will go the whole world. If you do public relation, you can be employed in so and so place. He's just telling me what is good in him. But he's not considering whether I that is telling this thing, whether is it favoring me. He's not even considering who I am at all or my strength at all. He's only telling me what to do. So in modernization theory will always tell you what you do so that you become better. That is their strength. So you know most of the things they say people should do, follow this thing you develop, follow this one you develop. That is their strength. But they don't put into consideration that this person you are telling to do this thing, he has something he has been doing before. He didn't even recognize that you are doing anything before. And he has already believed that those things you are doing, you can never succeed until you do his own. That is his weakness. Weakness means like criticizing, against. It's just weakness means criticism. Strength means in support of what they are saying. So they didn't consider knowledge of the Africa. They didn't consider that the underdeveloped world has anything they are doing before. They didn't even put in consideration African creativity or initiation. They don't believe that Africans or underdeveloped countries have initiatives at all. They don't consider initiatives. They're only interested in you doing what they are doing. So they don't believe that you can even initiate something and do it. So some of these things are the weaknesses and the strengths. Like in the dependency theory, as I said, the dependency theory will always just be analyzing the difference between the poor and the rich. The reason why a poor should depend on the rich. He will always tell you sometimes why wealthy nations are doing things well. Because we watch now, they will believe you that America is in politics better than Nigeria. They will tell the system of election is far better than what we are doing here, that we rigged here. Because they believe we depended on them and they believe that we are underdeveloped, so everything it doesn't work well. That's why we depend on them. So you see, dependency theory is also explained, the relationship between national and international things. How national on international issues or international connection or international communication. Because number one now, like this international communication, they are trying to tell you that the underdeveloped country depended on the developed country for them to learn what they will do so that they can become better. That is why you see in many occasions, they use this media of communication to tell you what you will do so that you can become better. They believe that you don't have initiative of your own. They believe that you are poor. They believe that you are distant. And it's not so. That is why the purpose why sometimes they ask this question is to bring about what we call the Chinese model. Because the Chinese model says that when an economy is good, it can influence the political actions or behaviors. But in the Western system, according to Rostow and others, they believe that it is more when the political aspect is good, then it can turn to economic betterment. So this is why they will say that politics controls everything or everybody's political animal. But when you look at Chinese model now, they changed it. They wanted to get their economy best because they believe that if the economy is good, somebody that is eating well can vote well. But when the political arena is good, somebody who did not eat, who has economic problem, cannot vote well. So these are some of the weaknesses and the explanation of these things. Anybody that has the idea to or ask that question can know what is this thing What is this theory trying to tell? Like hegemony, we tell you the power of supremacy or the power of some people. They will tell you that when we have a central authority, or when you have somebody that is in charge, or when you have a power that is above all other powers, that there will be peace and there will be order. There will be order, somebody that is controlling. But in many occasions, balance of power will tell you it is not so. That where one person is in charge, the person will now use authoritative action, or the power can enter his head and he can do anything. But when there is power, balance of power where nobody is in charge, everybody maintains his level. So it depends on understanding and how people see it. So what modernization theory is trying to tell you is that they are modern, you are poor. You cannot do anything on their own unless you follow our system. We are the one that is rich, you are not rich. So everything we do, it is us that will teach you how to do it because you don't even have initiative. But it's not the truth. That's what they are claiming. So that is their strength and what they believe is the good. But now people are saying, no, these people we are talking about this thing, you don't consider their initiative. You don't consider they have been doing something before. You don't even have any regard for them. You don't even see them as people who have been doing anything, which is not good, which is the weakness. I beg, it's like I'm talking too much. Are we communicating at all?
Yes, Chief.
Rasak, are you getting it? Are you getting what we are saying? I don't know. Eh? I'm not hearing you. Where are you?
I'm here, sir. We're good.
He's in the Zoom room.
Okay. Did you get that at all?
So I got you.
Did you get?
I got you.
You got my explanation. Okay. Now, let us go to cultural, but I will treat. I have treated cultural dominance. I've done that. So let me do hegemony and structural imperialism. Hello? I don't know whether people are hearing me at all.
We are hearing you.
Yes, we are hearing you.
We are hearing you.
Go ahead. We are with you. Go ahead.
Okay. Structural imperialism. We all know about imperialism. Imperialism is also dominance. It's about people carrying what they have. Is it political? Is it economic and everything? And take it to other people to do. But this structural imperialism, what it means is this. In a developed country, there are people, we can call them the elite. When you talk about hegemony theory, it means the Western, the developed country dominating the underdeveloped country in everything. They become their lord, they become their organ. They believe they have technology, they have finance, their economy is better, everything about them is better. You are coming, so they dictate for you, both economically and politically, even they dictate for you on how you live your life. Like what we are seeing in OPEC, imagine it's because of hegemony. America is never a member of the OPEC, but internationally, you must trade oil with dollar. Whether you like it or not, you must go with dollar. So even when you are dealing with another country, they must buy those things. The transaction of the business must go with dollar. That's what you call hegemony. You see, when there was a problem during the Arab and Israel's problem, when this oil was not, they are not buying, they started buying oil from Nigeria. at the stage, they told Nigeria they are not buying again. So it will dictate for you. That's hegemony. They are the organ. Now, hegemony means the dominance of the Western to the underdeveloped, or the elite to those that are not elite. It's just a dominance. One group are dominating others. So in hegemony theory of international communication, they are dominating us using communication to pass that dominance to the Western, to the underdeveloped. The way they do things, their policy, we did about realist idealism and everything. They will tell you, even in relationship, international relation, they will use their own authority to decide on how they relate with you. They dictate many things. So they use communication to pass that message. That's hegemonic theory of international communication. Dominating in everything. You see them, even most of this international, I don't think Save Nigeria have any international media. I think we have only this, I think the four major one is this AP, UP, and all these things. So they decide, Ruta and all these things, they dominate everything. They tell you they are orga. So international communication is the act of them using only even media to dominate all media and tell you what to do. Most of our media are regional, they are not international. So it is still them that controls the international, and it is, in international is about getting information, processing it, and passing it to those media that will broadcast. It is them that will decide what will happen or what will not happen in the international system. They dominate. But now, why I want to explain this structural imperialism is that this is not about Western dominating the under. Structural imperialism means in the Western world, there are people who dominate in their place. They are the elite. They are the people, the structure that controls the activities of that place. In underdeveloped countries, there are also a structure, the elites or the people in charge that dominates in that underdeveloped world. So what it means now is that those people who dominate in the underdeveloped countries, how they relate in the same system or structure would still those people that dominate in a developed country. So it's a structure of dominance in a particular zone. It is not a dominance of one zone dominating another, but it is a practice of some group of work. But the only difference is that those elites or those people that controls in those zones, they relate among themselves. So it's like the superpowers in the African countries relating with the superpowers in the imperial. So those ones that are in power, they will not dominate those that are not in power because they dictate what those that are not in power, what they do in their area or in their zone. That is structural imperialism. So the same structure, how it is being there overseas, it is the same structure that is being done in the underdeveloped country. Are you people getting me? Because I need questions. I need questions, people to ask questions. Okay. So that is structural, and we have talked about hegemony. We now talk about structural imperialism. Imperialism. So let me now talk about public sphere.
Public
Public sphere.
Okay.
Yeah. Public sphere. You know,
Public sphere is not in our course outline.
it is. Oh, you know when you don't know when that man gave us to discuss about it, or let's see, we are throwing it away. Okay. But because my group talked about it, is one of those things they told us to discuss about. The man gave it, but if it's not there, but let me just talk much small about it. It's just a platform arena where people come. When we talk about public sphere, I think, where can I use now? I think Tinubu Square, or what can I use in Ireland, or where can I use people? Where people are freely come together to express themselves in communication. When they say public sphere, it means that it is open. So there are different, CNN will come in the public sphere, BBC will come, all these people will come, all different medias, will come in the public sphere. Public sphere is like an open place where all the media houses or media print or everything can come and talk to people or talk to audience or just seek the opinion. In short, market themselves or market their principle. So public sphere is just like an open place. That's all for that. That's all for the theories of this thing. I think we talked about free flow, we talk about modernization, we talk about dependency, we talk about hegemony, we talk about structure. Okay. I think that can help us if we're asked to say something there. So the next one is, let us do, okay, let us do determinant. Is that one important?
Hello, Chief. Hello, sir. Please, I'm sorry for taking us back. My network was back then. Please, can you just recap the structural imperialism and hegemony, please, sir?
Okay. Hegemony means the developed dominating the underdeveloped. Hegemony means in international communication, like now, when we now talk about the international news agencies, if we talk about the international news agencies, the major four, you will see AP, Associated Press, is owned by US. You will see UPI, United Press International, I think is also owned by America. You will see AFP. AFP is that of France, that's Agency France. You will see Reuters. Reuters is London or UK. You see TASS. So you now begin to see that in international news agencies, they are only from the Western world. You will not, okay, when you now talk about the International Broadcasting Corporation, you now see CNN, you see BBC, you see Al Jazeera. You see all of them are Western. So which means there's no equal play in the system. You see that it is one group that is dominating others. You see that in the international communication hegemony, they are the superpowers or the developed country or the ones they call the Northern Hemisphere or the ones they call the core. You know, the developed are called the periphery. Sometimes you see the core, the semi-periphery, and the periphery, you know. So sometimes you see those things, but the major thing is that they are the Western world dominating everything. So since this one are international news agencies, it is what they do to market their own culture. That's why we have what we call cultural dominance. It is something about them that they market. And they have this power. You cannot challenge them. You cannot say anything. They dominate the system. That is hegemony in international. So they are the people giving, and we know that international communication is about gathering something, processing it, and sending to media information they would broadcast or mass media, everything. And they are the ones deciding. So they are the organs. Hegemony means in charge and organ. So they are the organs in international systems. That's hegemony. So it is the developed dominating the underdeveloped. Now, the structural imperialism. When we are put about imperialism, it is about economic aspects of this Western world passing their economic activities to the underdeveloped world, telling you what to do. I used OPEC as an example. You must, even when they are not a member of OPEC, if you want to buy dollar, if you want to sell oil, you sell it in their money. Economically, you will change their money. We know what we did about foreign exchange. It is them that decides. They decide the economic aspect of it. So they send to you what you needed to do economically. That's why you see multinational organization. You see some of these international organizations like this Mobile, Shell, and all these things is owned by those people. So they brought their business here, taking our money. They will buy our, because we are in the periphery, we are poor, they will buy our crude and go and this thing, when they take the crude, they will refine it. They will bring many things. They will bring it back at a higher price. And when we don't have money, they will borrow us loan to come and buy finished product. So they control the economy. But structural imperialism means there are elites in the Western world. They have a structure, how they dominate the lesser ones in their country or their continent. In the same way, there is also a structure in the underdeveloped country, those people that are in charge, that controls the affair of the underdeveloped country. So in structural imperialism, it is not the Western dominating the underdeveloped country, but it is the act of the elite in those zones or in that country dominating their own people that are lesser. While those elites that dominate from the underdeveloped country and the developed country, they relate on the level of elite. Because two of them are organs in their own zone. So they relate. So it is not a question of these people to come and dominate it or these people to come and dominate. No, it is a structure in place that gives some people the room or the edge to be in charge of dictating to others in their area. Are you getting what I'm saying? Hello?
Yes.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Thank you, sir. So, like from underdeveloped.
Yes.
Hello.
Nice explanation.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Hello, Chief. So, allied from underdeveloped are also relating to with allied from developed, right?
Yeah, like in Nigeria today now, the people in charge of Nigeria today, or the people in charge of Africa, dominating Africa, are also relating with those people dominating Asia and America. Like, let me use individual.
Okay.
If Obasanjo is among those that are dominating Nigeria, Obasanjo also relates with the president of America now.
Okay. Okay.
They relate. So they know themselves. They know that these are the group of people that are in charge in America. Like if the American president wants to something in Nigeria or wants to make something in Nigeria, it's not everybody they will call now.
Yes.
They will know people in Nigeria that are the power brokers or the makers of everything. So that structure of imperialism, structure of intimidation, or structure of control, the way it is in the Western world, like now, if Nigeria wants to look for something in London or Canada, it's not everybody. They know people they will talk to in Canada. These are the people that decide what happens in Canada. In the same way, if they want something in Nigeria, they will look for those people. So they are operating. But in hegemony is the total America or a whole America as a country, dominating Africa as a poor country, telling us what to do and what not to do. Do you get it now?
Yes.
If you didn't get it to talk, we can explain until you get it. Because tomorrow you will explain it to somebody.
Very explanatory, Chief.
Eh?
Yeah, very explanatory. We explain it very well.
Okay, you'll be able to get that. Okay. So we have talked about determinant. Determinant. Maybe can we talk determinant of, okay, but let me talk about, no, I have gone to another thing. We have talked about
Hello,
this
Chief.
international.
Hello, sir. Please, can we quickly treat this question, because the man threw it to us in class then. Critically examine the effect of global communication in the current world order. You are even among those people that answered it. He mentioned political, economically, socially, and culturally.
Critically do what? Speak the grammar again.
Critically examine the effect of global communication in the current world order. So you now said we can answer this political way, economically, socially, and culturally. You were even among those people that even answered it. And he said it's an exam question. So please, can we look into that, sir?
Critically examine the political
the effect of global. I think someone has sent it on chat.
Okay, let me critically examine the effect of global communication. So now, what we have been talking since is, what is the impact of global communication? What has global communication done? One, global communications has even changed the way people reason. The global communication has changed the way people trade. Global communication has changed the way people dress. Global communication has changed the way people do their culture. So what are you now? Are you not? Don't you know that what we have been discussing since is this question you asked?
Yes, sir, but please, sir, do you know what? Can you please, because the man has already analyzed the way we should answer it. He said politically. So can you just give us, like, explain it in the political way, then socially, you explain it socially, economically, you explain it economically and culturally. Please, can you just give us short notes on each of the
Chief is a student too. I'm a student too, so
please,
always the professor in charge this night.
Always remember anything I'm saying here.
All of us are students. Yes.
So somebody,
student past student.
One of my friends go copy. When we are doing BSc, one boy goes stay near one girl. The girl knows sabi wetin he dey write, but he don't write 4 pages. So the guy can't copy wetin the girl write. About 10 minutes to go, the guy noticed that she made a mistake. She canceled the 4 pages. Started again. The boy come out to say, they call the girl idiot. I just follow this animal, write anything way they write. So I don't know even say that the girl knows sabi wetin they write. So let us now go. One, politically, global communication has been able to help us influence the ways our electoral processes are being conducted. As we practice democracy, there are a lot of electoral laws and electoral practices we have been doing that has not been working well. Global economy has been able to help us, even in our election, to report election report. Global communication has helped us to post election results. Even it has helped us to stop the act of carrying ballot paper or ballot boxes, sorry. It has helped us politically to stop some act of thuggery, because immediately elections are done in some areas through the act of media or communication, results are being posted. More especially, you see in some occasions, before they even announce, you see the results in the social media. That's why you see in many occasions, INEC will come out and say, most of these results are not authentic. You should wait until it is announced officially. All these things is economy is making us, when the global economy can now has helped us to compare or to see the kind of political practices done in other countries. We can be able to now follow sequence like what happened in the Obama election, Joe Biden election. It is global communication that has helped even somebody that is in Nigeria to follow or monitor the election, either through the television or through the media or through the print. So what this thing is only trying to say is that the global communication or communication has opened the eyes of people politically to know many things. Communication has even helped us now to know the functions and the duties of our political leaders. It has even helped us to ask questions or even curtail the activities of our political elected officers. Global communication has already even given us what we call a propaganda in politics. Because it is through communication you see people carrying a lot of propaganda, which is one of the tactics or practices of election. So communication or global communication is like an eye-opener to most of the things that have been hidden before or things people don't know. So it brings about politically down to the to our doorsteps, or it makes political activities or political events closer to the people. Because now if people are doing rally through television when it is live or through social media, it brings it closer to you. So is this global communication? Global simply means making a global things to become a global village or become one. So through this global communication, you can be able to know what is happening in another country. You can monitor election in Australia. You can monitor what is happening politically in other countries. You can analyze it. You can even follow. It will bring it closer to you and you know it. That is the importance or the effect of global communication in politics. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
So I can go to economy. It is through global communication that you can be able to order things from your house. You can, through social media, you can market your product. Global communication enhances even productivity. It enhances economic activities. Through global communication, you can be able to analyze the economic index of your country. You can be able to know the human index. You can be able to know the literacy rates, the economic activities, the monetary fiscal policies of central bank. You can, even through global communication, know how the economy of another country is being fed. You can do comparison. Through global communication, you can be able to seek for measures which can be used to, transform your economy. It is through global communication that you can know the prices of some items in the international market. All these things is what communication can do. Communications are varieties, print, media, all these are global communication. Global communication means that through economic aspect of it, that the world is now like a global village. Something that you don't have here, through the means of communication, you can call a manufacturer in China without even going to China, without even seeing the person. The person will send you goods. And through this global communication, financially, you can send money and you receive your goods. You can even track the goods. You can also, what it has done is that it has increased awareness and the means of doing business or doing economic activities. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
Culturally, through global communication, you can even view the culture of other people. You can now watch Nollywood, you can watch Hollywood, you can watch all these things. You can watch culture in Brazil, you can watch culture in Nigeria, somebody that is in America. Latest Zoom, the kind of meeting we are doing now through Zoom, somebody that is somewhere can be watching what is happening here. So culture, you now can know the culture of Germany, you can know the culture of Israel, they can know the culture here. That's why you see many occasions, they bring about their culture and it is affecting us. Only anger is that they have made us to say that everything about our culture is bad, that we should just take their own. They have succeeded in getting the audience that even when you wear suits under the sun, suits they are wearing in cold weather, Chief will wear suits here in sun and be sweating. And you people will be saying, Chief, you look like a bobo. You look like an American. Not knowing that I'm
you look like president.
So, I saw my guy and I are wearing a suit in the sun, and he's imitating an Oyibo culture of Oyibo in a hot sun in Nigeria. So can you imagine? And the way that you are corporate. You go and wear Canada come, you say I'm corporate. But you don't know that the sun is too much.
I can wear my Ankara.
Eh?
I'm an African man.
I saw a mechanic, my brother, he wears suit for convocation and enter Moorwe and come to convocation. Think of it. Because we are imitating the Oyibo culture.
Western culture.
So culturally, through communication or through this media, many cultures are influenced, but the annoying aspect of it is that we buy more of their culture. We see more of their culture, we see more of their things. And why it is so is because even in the communication system, they are dominating. They are the people in charge. So when they are dominating, anything they give to you, you buy it. But in another way, through global communication, the world has become a global village, and culturally diversity of different countries, you can get it easily. It's no more like when you don't have this. This is some of the things that the global communication has done culturally. Then socially, our way of doing things are more westernized now than before. This is the impact of global communication. A lot of girls in Nigeria today are wearing pants and bra walking around the street. These are some of the things they wear in the beach overseas. But you wear it here, they will tell you you are sexy, but you don't know that you are crazy and you are sick. In the Western world, they wear clothes for an occasion. Every occasion has a purpose, their social life. There's a way you behave the way you want to behave. But there's something I want to say now. When I said about free flow information, let me bring it back now for us to see, while it is sometimes good to practice communism where government restricts something, all this nonsense we are seeing is because America is practicing capitalism, that is democratic system where everything is free. Do anything the way you like. Freedom of rights, freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of wearing clothes, freedom of all these things. If it is a place where there's laws, there's restriction, there are certain, any girl that I see on the road that is wearing mini, wanted to become a prostitute, I would just recommend 4 boys, go and settle this girl and she will be okay. So that if you do it, because they have freedom, they will tell you it's rape. So our social life have been, through communication, we have seen a lot of things. It has affected the way we behave. In Igbo land, we have a way of association or a way of authority in seniority basis. But because of westernization now in our social life, I can't imagine a boy wearing an earring coming to where we are doing meeting. I can't even imagine somebody, because you went to oversee. The annoying aspect of it, some of the Oyibos that came here, when they go to their place, they will never change their way of dressing or way of behavior. But anybody that crossed Cotonou here has gone to oversee, he will come and be speaking nonsense. He will dread his hair, he will change, he will wear, which one, this one, where did they wear, where did they see boxer? What is it, sag, is it sagging or what do they call it? So all these things are effects of westernization in our life. And majority of the people practicing it is what they saw through communication. They might have not even been to America, but when they look at the television or when they look at some communication system or media system or YouTube or all this WhatsApp and all these things, they copy. So it affects our social life. That's for that. Any other question? If there's no question, we now treat, I just want to treat, I think we know about all this, I think we have talked about, when you talk about agencies, you know that agencies, ownership of agencies are in about 4 ways. These news agencies, it can all be owned by a private person, it can be owned by government, it can be owned by a cooperative, a group of people, then it can be owned by hybrid. Hybrid is a combination of government and individual. Then when we talk about agencies in terms of operation, how agencies operate, because these agencies, although they are being owned by private, government, cooperative, hybrid, but you must know how these agencies operate. So there are agencies that operate internationally, like the ones we mentioned, the 4 of them. Those are the international agencies, AFP and all these things. There are agencies that operate regional, like Africa, West Africa, like Pan-African Development, all these things that operate regional. Then there are ones that operate internally in the nation, like what we have Nigeria here, News Agency of Nigeria, these agencies in Nigeria, ATA, they don't operate more than Nigeria. They are national. Then we have the last one they call the specialized agencies. Those specialized agencies, like the one that I report about OPEC, their duty is to report things about their organization or the specialized. It's like if MPIA has now an agency, it only talks about everything about MPIA. Like now, if we have the newspaper they call MPIA newspaper, it means it's specialized on things about MPIA. So whenever you need anything MPIA, you go to such an agency.
Sorry, sir. Chief, sorry, sir. Please, can you recap that news agency?
News agencies, there are four in group according to operation. But let me start first. News agencies can be owned by private people. It can be owned by government. It can be owned by cooperative agencies. It can be owned by hybrid. That's a combination of the government and individual. Maybe government and individual can come together and own an agency. Do you get that now?
Yes, sir.
Then,
yes, sir.
These agencies, they are being classified according to operation. So, and they have 4 types of operation they do. There are agencies that are international, like the ones I mentioned before, AFP and all this. They report throughout the whole world. They are technically equipped. They have the technology. They have the finance. They have everything. So their operation is far. They are international. That's why we always say that even when you are talking about Nigerian, this national world information, something other, WICO, even when we are talking about it, it is still the same people that you are saying that they are partial in what they are doing, and it's still the people controlling the international agency. So how will it work? When you are accusing somebody that is not doing well and is the person is in charge, it cannot work. But that's not what I'm saying. So in international, you cannot see any African agency there. It is them. Then we have the regional. These ones report about the regional affairs, like ECOWAS, Africa, all this region, you know, that's their duty. So the third one is national, that reports or operates in a nation, within a sovereignty. They don't operate outside their sovereignty. Like this AIT, all these things that operate in Nigeria, they don't operate outside Nigeria. It's within national base. This daily, all this newspaper we are reading here, like this Punch and all these things, they are locality nation. Then we have the specialized. There is a newspaper that reports about OPEC. I don't know about those people that are reading sports magazine or sports newspaper. I think it only reports about sports. So it means those ones that we have OPEC newspaper that reports about oil in the world. So they are specialized. They don't talk about politics. They don't talk about, they only talk about that oil. That is their own thing. So like as we're talking now, you know, we have major news agencies, like Reuters is based in London and is linked to the British. It is for the British. So they report everything about British. This AFP is based in France. It talks about France. It's established after the Second World War. AP is based in US. It talks about everything about US decolonization. TASS, the other one, TAS, is based in Russia. It talks about affairs of Russia. So these ones are the main international ones, you know, you don't see our locality, this thing follow them, all these are this thing. So these are the three. These are things about the agency. Is there any other thing you didn't get there?
I'm fine, sir.
You're fine now. I am
Thank you,
happy. I'm happy you are fine. So now, what again do we need to touch so that we can? Okay. What are the things that
Please, I want you
influence?
to give us more clarification on this, sir. Hello, Chief.
Hello.
When you are talking about the new world order, you are saying Nigeria new world order information. I think it's new world information.
New world information.
Not Nigeria.
No, it's not Nigeria. NWICO, New World
Information Communication
No,
Order.
what I'm saying is that New World Information Communication Order. Nigeria know that what in Nigeria did. Nigeria get name. So
you mentioned Nigeria now.
Maybe it
no,
was
Nigeria.
Oh, yeah, now tell us about Winko, Chief. I want.
Go ahead.
There's something.
Yeah, now tell us about Winko.
I will tell you now. Let me tell you something first before I tell you about Winko. So there's something I want to bring and things that influence international communication, technology, colonialism, and let me get it. Some of the things that influence. I'm coming. Okay. There are things that influence international communication. Three of them. Technology, colonization, national identity. Technology. You know, in international communication, the more modern the technology, the more its function changes. So, as far as there is an advancement in technology, it will always influence how international communication are being done. Why I'm saying this thing is that, you know, before, I think importation was different. Maybe you send it through post office and import. But as technology is increasing, importation are no more like the way it is. So the system of doing it, the way of communicating, even the way of relating with the people, and the speed, the response to communication is faster now because of communication. So like before, WhatsApp, I think WhatsApp, Zoom, Instagram, all this, as technology is developing, it influences communication. Are we there? Then secondly, colonization. If people take over affairs of another person, it changes the means of communication. Like now, if Shegu is no more our governor and another person takes over, the person will bring a means of communication or a way of doing things. So such changeover, it means a changeover or a handover or taking over influences international communication. If another country now, let's assume, I think something that is happening in Taiwan, I think somebody is saying it. Taiwan is saying that they are independent country, but I think China is saying no. So if anybody goes now to do something take over Taiwan or do something in Taiwan, a lot of things will begin to happen. So many things will be changed. Communication in Taiwan will change. A lot of things will change. That's in colonization. National identity. Immediately after independence, many countries that received their independence from their colonial masters, they change what they are being used for. They used communication or international communication. It changed their international communication, how they interact with people. It changed their identity. It changed everything, because before they may not have a name, but because they have gotten their independence, they now have a name. So they will use international communication to create their own identity. What it means that when you have freedom, then you use international communication to market yourself so that you can be able to have an identity. So let me talk about, when I say New World Order, say,
Yes, sir.
are we not sleeping?
Mbao.
This is 12 o'clock.
Mbano, we are not sleeping.
Are people still here? Okay.
We are here.
Okay. Let me talk about it.
We are here.
We are not sleeping, no. We are here.
Sleep.
So, New World Order. Before New World Order, communication has been going. And based on what we discussed before, you will see that in international communication, everything is partial. Everything is partial because it is the Western that anything they decide to go, it will go. Anyhow they want to do the news, they will do the news. Anyhow they want everything to go, they will go. So the people in Tunis in 1916 and in 1973, those underdeveloped countries stage what we call a protest. That the way these people are managing these informations, it is not encouraging. That they only report what they want to report, that they only market their culture, that they only do things that is pleasing to them, so that it is not in favor of the developing country, that they don't report anything about developing country, that anything they report about developing country, that it is on the negative. Anything they report is on the negative. Even today, most of the East International Broadcasting corporations, if you watch their news about Nigeria or Africa, sometimes you begin to wonder, do these people hate us? They believe we are monkeys. In short, they don't believe that anything good will come. So based on that, these developed countries became angry and said, no, that it will not continue. So a commission need to be set up. They call it MC Commission. MC Bright Commission. So, and it was formed by UNESCO General Conference in 1978 because they recognized the role of the mass media. So in the 33rd session of the United Nations Assembly, General Assembly, they adopted this resolution of order and communication. So the International Commission for the Board for the Study of Communication Problems was set up this MC Bright Commission was a commission set up to study the communication problem, to study what is that issue on the developed countries we are talking about. So that commission, they submitted their report to UNESCO in 1980. It was that 1980, because of that MC Bright Commission, that is when the problem about information and communication related issues were brought to the global world. So the world now knows that there is a problem. And on that basis, New World Information Communication Order was formed. What it simply means is a way to change from the way they have been doing things to a way where international communication can be balanced. How it can be balanced. So that is what NWICO wants to address. So the aim why this thing was formed, because the nation for the League of Nations during the First World War, and because First World War was not commissioned, that was this, and we have now what we call United Nations. It was when the League of Nations did not stop the Second World War that led to the dissolving of League of Nations and the formation of the United Nations. So all these things is because there is partiality in most of all this. So this NWICO has problems they want to address. So those problems are: one, imbalances and inequalities in the way news are being reported. Two, distortion of content. If developed country brought any message, they will not send that message the way it came. They will distort it and fix it in a way that it will suit them. You can never bring any message or matter that will talk bad about them. It will be distorted and they will say it the way it will suit them. Cultural alienation, culture. They have never and they will never talk anything about the culture of the underdeveloped country. Everything they will talk is about their culture. Everything they will report is about their culture, so that you can be able to drop your own and take their own. Concentration and monopoly, that's monopoly, monopolizing everything. They are in charge of everything, they are monopoly. They decide what they want to decide and do it the way they want to do it. They don't care. They are the people who has everything. Then there's a lot of disparities. When you cross-check things, things doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. So they now cried out and said that enough is enough. Then when this MC Bright Commission came up to bring about New World Information Communication Order, their aim is one, to stop all those inequalities, those things that has been happening. How can it be stopped that it will not be happening? They also looked at the internal and external forces that is causing these inequalities, that is making information not to balance. And they want to create freedom of journalism and information dissemination without restriction. So the third one is that they want to give freedom to Nigeria or to the developing countries. So you now see there are some arguments, because this WICO is purely a political proposal. It's a proposal on things that concerns communication and media, issues, difficulties, imbalances, negative situations that is happening between the developed country and the developed country. And you know that most of the international broadcasting or international agencies are being owned by them. So you cannot do anything. So, but a stage came when this New World Information Communication, when it's formed, there was an argument between the white people and even the Africans that brought out that or the underdeveloped country that brought about this week. So they said that those people who introduced WICO said that WICO can do three things. They said that if WICO is formed, that WICO will help the third world country to decolonize themselves. They will come out of colonization. Because the way of information is one way. It comes from only the masters. So if this WICO is formed, they will decolonize themselves and information cannot be one way again. So they will be able to do things on their own. Two, they said that WICO can facilitate development. When the informations are free, when things are free, that WICO can facilitate development in the third world countries or third world nations. Three, they said that since this communication is being monopolized by only the Western world, that if WICO comes to checkmate those imbalances, that they will demobilize all those their monopoly. That with WICO coming up, that they will demobilize this monopoly, they have been monopolizing them. That is the third one. The last but not the least, they believe that if WICO comes on board, it will promote democracy or democratization of global communication system. And when there is democracy, it will solve the problem of imbalances. It will change. And because in democracy, there's freedom, there's equity, there's fairness, things will be done accordingly. So that if WICO comes up, it will bring about democratization of the global system. And when democracy is in practice, people not themselves. Everybody will be free to do what they want to do. This is what WICO said, or people who are advocating for WICO said, that if WICO is done, this is what it can benefit. But those Western world or those superpowers, more especially those people that are practicing freedom, who don't like all these things to happen, they came up with their own argument saying that if you are saying that these people that are in charge of all these things are monopolizing things, even when WICO recommended that there will be freedom, that it is the same people that were practicing that monopoly are still the same people that are in charge of the means of communication. So how do you think that things will change? Because WICO is not recommending that the international organization or these things should be changed, because you cannot change them. They are the people who has the technical or the financial know-how. So if we are saying that they monopolize things and you form WICO, it is still them that is in charge. So how do you think that those things they are asking for will work? So they are saying that it is very, very difficult for WICO to work, because the same people that are monopolizing are still the same people that will be in charge, even if that WICO is formed. So that's number one. Number two, most of the people in the Southern Hemisphere, I told you about the Southern and Northern Hemisphere. Northern Hemisphere are the rich people, Southern Hemisphere are the poor people. They are arguing that even most of the people in the Southern Hemisphere are practicing communism or socialism, where government is in charge. So America was so angry that these Western people, that what they are trying to do is to restrict freedom. They want to, if this thing is agreed, then government can be able to be in charge of even communication or media, and by then there will be no freedom again. So the superpower, the Americans, are against this process of WICO, because they believe that doing what the Southerners are requesting for will make communication not to be free again, because most of the countries are under the leadership of the Communist Party, those people that are means of production and everything in the hand of government. So America was against such a movement because they believe it will not bring about freedom. Then, the last but not the least, against the WICO, what the white people are saying, they said, this mass communication, we all know, is not acting fair to the third world countries. The media coverage is still partial, and there is also an unbalanced media report from the West to the South. So if they are saying, since the partiality and everything is against the Western, that even if you put WICO, since those people in their own ideology or their consent is still partial, as far as the West remain partial to the South, that even if you put a new law, the impartiality will still continue to exist. So that is why they said that in paper, that is theory, that the WICO theory worked, but in practical, it failed. So when we talk about this WICO, in theory, based on what they said, it looked successful. But in practice, we all know that the Western still dominate the media. The Western still control the media. The Western still report what they want to report. The Western still distort information. The Western still monopolize everything. So automatically in practice, what New World Information Communication Order requested for has not come to materialize. So, but when you look at it in paper, they will tell you all the good theories, all the good stories. But when you look at the practical evidence of everything, everybody knows that New World Information Communication Order did not achieve its aim. It didn't work out. That is the end of my story for now. Hello.
Kudos to you, Chief. We really appreciate you. God bless you for us. Thank you, sir.
Me? Una appreciate
Well
you.
done now. Eze, well done.
Hey, my G, my G, my G. Are you still
Well
awake?
done. Yes,
So
now
me,
you
I'm not
kept
your
me
G,
awake
Abi.
now.
Now you
You kept me
don't
awake
worry.
now.
Don't worry.
Sorry, sir.
Nice
BJ,
one, though.
BJ, you know where me and you have started now. Our own too far. I don't talk like that.
Shebi, when Mr. Segun talk now, you remember him to be your G. But when we
No,
have been
now.
talking, you don't say my G, my G.
You are
The two
a,
of you.
you
The two
are
of
a
you.
member of the kitchen.
You will tell
kitchen
us how
member,
you started.
kitchen.
You will tell us how you
You
started,
want to
though.
know?
Eze,
BJ, you have to tell us how you started. You.
how you started, though. We are
We cannot say
interested.
that on here, yeah.
No, it's not for
You
public
are,
consumption. It's
you are
not for.
just you are just perpetuating your hegemony. God see you.
Of course.
Hey,
Mr.
this
Segun,
PR, it don't come with PR, man. That's why I'm afraid of talking about communication. Oh, because
Nice one, guys.
Right.
Good night, too.
Okay, I
All
think
right,
for
sir.
now, at least we have gotten some. Tomorrow we conclude now.
Yes.
sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye. Good night,
Okay, no
everyone.
Chief.
Thank you so much.
It's Olori that is greeting you now.
Jesus Christ. My people are here. Oh.
Chief, why is it you too much like woman?
I too like woman.
You too like woman.
Nami have been another person.
You, Chief.
I supported the regime. Oh. Ha.
Don't let me sanction you. Don't let me sanction you.
I support my own. Oh. Ha. Support my ministry. Oh.
I definitely. I'm on your side.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chief. God bless you.
It's well, my people.
Okay. Have a wonderful night rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Razak, I hope you have not slept. You are still recording.